DMC was a great part of my growing up and influence.
Where you from? Where you grow up at?
LA.
All
So
right.
I was at the Fresh Fest back in
See,
the day.
that's original, not raising hell. Fresh Fest.
At the Fresh Fest, you guys, Houdini, Fat
Yep.
Boys, UTFO, Orange.
Yes.
I was there. So this is really special to me. So I want to know, from the beginning, sports and your swag, all of that was a part of who you guys naturally were. And
Yep.
now it coming into hip hop that it's so manufactured and they are trying to get to what you guys naturally started out as. How does it feel to sort of see the evolution of what you began come this far?
It's satisfying, but it's also disappointing because they're emulating it, but they're not putting the responsibility of it with it. See, that was the game changer. That's why we was able to accomplish and do everything that we do. Now people are just showing and acting like us so they can be labeled as cool. But what was cool about us, we really had a passion. We had a mission. We had something to demonstrate. We had something to get across that ever people would take from us and keep continually passing on and on. So it's definitely flattering, but it's disappointing because, okay, now we got all this success. We got all of this success with hip hop, but what are we doing with it? See, Run DMC, we knew we had a responsibility to Grandmaster Flash, the Zulu Nation, the Treacherous Three, the Funky 4+1, the Crash Crew, the Furious Five, the Fantastic Five, and Cold Crush. And Spoonie G and all those guys. We had a responsibility. Now that we're in the music business, we are not going to change in any shape or form and fashion what you boys and girls created that is good. Now, it seems like they're using hip hop to validate very negative behaviors and actions. You know what I'm saying? So that being said, in the 50 years of hip hop, it wasn't a celebration of 50 years of hip hop. It was a celebration of 44 years of recorded rap. They celebrated Kool Herc, the guy that made it, but then they didn't talk about 73 to 79. They said Kool Herc 79 to now. What about all of those years in between? The reason why they don't want to address all of those years in between, because it's a very economic, political, spiritual, educational things that we were addressing in the music that allowed us to become this billion-dollar thing. When you look at the Run DMC documentary, we always said people saw the dynamic of me running Jay. But when you saw Run DMC, even out of height, you didn't see celebrity. You saw yourself. You saw some aspect of yourself. And that's the same thing that happened to me when I looked at Melly Mel, Kool Moe Dee, and Grandmaster Caz. So we continued that. Hip hop wasn't allowed into the music business. We forced our way to bring hip hop to music and entertainment, and there was a change. There was a shift. But now they're taking stupidity, ignorance, disrespect, and negativity, things that are not hip hop, and they're labeling it hip hop so they could sell it commercially. Hip hop was about keeping it real. When you look at everybody interviewed for the Run DMC documentary, from Ice-T to Public Enemy to Chuck D and everybody in between, people are not realizing you got Jermaine Dupri, you got Eminem, you got all different, you got Questlove. All of us are different, but we do the same thing. You got hip hop now. The number one artist in hip hop now sounds like everybody below him. It wasn't like that in Arab. Run DMC didn't sound like Grandmaster Flash. Grandmaster Flash didn't sound like Zulu Nation. LL didn't sound like Run DMC. PE didn't sound like Run DMC. Rakim didn't sound like LL, but we all were rapping. So it's very flattering that, and this is crazy. I talk to people in the business. Country music is trying to steal our emotions and our look because they want to be considered cool. But you're not cool if you're not doing yourself. And if you're not coming with all the aspects that make this culture what it is. So it's very flattering. That shows we have a power. Yeah. But it's very disappointing because we're not utilizing the power to do what a Rakim or Public Enemy or an X-Clan was doing with this culture.
Facts. And kind of along those lines, one thing that I really loved was your love of comic books and the educational aspect. I think it helped with your rhymes, the creativity, the type of things that you could add in there. Can you talk a little bit about how comic books shaped your storytelling and how education flowed into your raps, even though, you know, you guys were hardcore?
Oh, for sure. No, that's what made it so hard. Now, when you look at Wu-Tang, for example, there was people that didn't like hip hop, but when Wu-Tang started talking about the love of Kung Fu movies, all those Kung Fu fans can now relate to Wu-Tang. And once they got into Wu-Tang, they got introduced in a form of hip hop that was so lyrically and conceptually, dynamically, it was better than Star Wars. You know what I'm saying? So when I came along, hip hop was about keeping it real. So I can't rhyme about what the boys and girls in the Bronx and Harlem and Manhattan was doing because I'm not from there. But they taught me, they didn't want to hear me rhyming like them. They wanted to hear me rhyming like me. You know what I'm saying? And I remember Kool Moe Dee from the Treacherous Three, one of the beautiful things that he did, when it was his turn to rhyme, everybody knew Kool Moe Dee was smart and was in school and made it to college. And I'll never forget, when you pass Kool Moe Dee to Mike, everybody's rhyming about what they do. This dude Moe Dee said, which inspired me to come and do what I did on Sucker MCs and Christmas and Hollis and those records. Kool Moe Dee said, we all coming from adversity. So Kool Moe Dee's rhyme, he said, once a nobody from the neighborhood, I took a hop to the top because I knew that I would excel over the rest because I make progress. I don't consider it luck because I'm not blessed. I got my life all together, love the way that I live. I go to school, know I'm cool, and I think positive because it's a right to have fun, lots of pleasures and joy, but it's a brain that separates the men from the boys. That was more powerful than me than somebody rhyming about their gun and stuff like that. So what it did was it gave me permission to talk about things people wasn't talking about, but everybody did. Okay, everybody's in a gang. No, they ain't. There's a lot of people in the gang, but there's a lot of people not in the gang. So hip hop has given me permission to rhyme from that perspective. Because why? When you go to a hip hop show, there's the gangbanger and the guy not in the gang at the same show that we're at. So it allowed us to accept and validate and qualify the truth of every individual. Because all the gangbangers don't want to be gangbangers. They rather be going to the Comic-Con. But a lot of them don't get that opportunity. So Run DMC and Jam Master Jay, we inspired Rakim and Chuck D, but we also inspired Ice Cube and Ice-T.
Thank you so much for your time. This documentary is long overdue. Much continued success to you.
Thank you.